So I'm on the road today. We're gonna talk a little bit about Ukraine war. We're gonna talk about this war. I want people to hear me out about this war. You know that the government is only talking about one side story of this Ukraine war. This has never happened before. A president in a foreign country is calling for other foreigners to come and fight for their country. This is unprecedented. We never heard of this. And there's some key points that I want y'all to understand that I'm pointing out. First thing I have noticed about this war that is beyond propaganda. Off rip. One second for a second. One second. I'm driving. But anyway, it's like you got a choice to choose between the good guy and the bad guy. But we know that the media is curating a good guy and a bad guy. If you do any history on Ukraine, you know that Ukraine and Russia always been fighting against each other for years, for decades, to be on point. We can talk about the 1991, we can talk about 2014, we can go even further back, but we just gonna talk about just the simple stuff. Let's just start out with 2014. Russia always controlled Ukraine since after the Soviet. This is stuff that you can look up. I have watched the media say that the European war, they have not had a major European war. I mean, come on now. Let's look at Ukraine and Russia. They've been killing each other for decades. Since Stalin was in power, they've been killing each other on a massive level. 13,000 people died in Ukraine alone just from a war. 13,000, that's a lot of people. If that's not a genocidal or a form of a Holocaust, what do you call it? Another thing that we looking at this war, that not only they trying to make a good guy and a bad guy, but they're trying to make a hero. It's like a story, a script, a movie. Notice that the government, United States government, plays no part in this. But they definitely had a hand in this, but nobody's paying attention. Nobody's paying attention what's truly at facts. We got Joe Biden, who took the gas up at a level that is unprecedented. I mean, come on now. We looking at $5 a gallon or higher. This stuff never, ever been recorded. Let's look at the gas. What about the gas was bought at $90 a gallon or a drum? $100 a drum. How does the gas still jump this fast? What happened to the ripple effect? Give it time before it kicks in. Normally when gas going to shoot up, you got a couple of days before you can get to the gas station, fill up before gas start, spiking. But now you don't even have that. You got a couple of hours. It's like every time there's a crisis, these people make the best out of it. It's only a crisis when they say it's a crisis, and nobody pay attention to that. What about the crisis in Syria? What about the crisis in Afghanistan? What about the crisis in Iraq? What about all those people who lost their lives in Iraq? What about all those people who lost their lives in Syria, Afghanistan? Soldiers, civilians, hospitals been bombed. More than playgrounds, the looting, the ravage, the rapes. But they recording this like here, like, look what Russia's doing. Look what Russia's doing. What about what they done? The ravage around the world, the colonizing. Even from this day, they still colonizing, just in a different form. They raging war through sanctions. People, come on, you gotta wake up. This is a test of your mind. You let the media control your mind. You gotta wake up from this. You can't let the media control your mind. They know this. They know whatever they say that you will believe. Think about it. What do you gain from going to another country and say you fighting for democracy or you fighting for freedom? You don't even know what the hell you're getting yourself into. God forbid, you can't even speak the language or read the language, and you go into another country and oh, I'm fighting for Ukraine and I'm fighting for their freedom. What is freedom to them? Their freedom could be different from your freedom, but yet nobody see this. I mean, you gotta wake up. You know, and I think that our people is just not seeing it. We got to worry about America before we worry about foreign countries. How all of a sudden that this government didn't have no money to give to the American people, but all of a sudden a crisis happened. They got money to bring out the ass from out of nowhere. Poof. Just a couple of months ago last year, we had a debt ceiling. They didn't have no money to give the people. They have to raise the debt, but all of a sudden they have money to give out. Think about it. Now they want to bring refugees of Ukrainians to America. But go back in 2014 and see the racism. The neo-Nazis marching around there. Think about when George Floyd got killed, murdered by the police. What you think those Ukrainians was doing? The guy who murdered let him out of prison, give him freedom. They was marching at their soccer games. Don't dare know that our government is supporting racism. Our government is Nazis, if we like it or not. They don't care about you people. They don't care about the lower class. They making this into, they're dividing this from the rich and poor. That's all this is. And yet there's going to be no middle class. You're going to have to choose a side to be poor, happy poor, or fight to be rich. Anyway, I'm out. Stay tuned.